So the game ends, Liverpool 1, Arsenal 1, and I think that's probably a fair reflection of the game. Arsenal started the game better with a better side in the first half, but Liverpool were definitely the better side in the second half. I thought Liverpool were just going to get a winner, but the last 10 minutes of the game looked really flat, and it just kind of looked like both teams were just accepting the 1-1 draw. But there was a period where Trent should have scored, and I thought Liverpool might just get the winner, but they lacked that quality in attack. But then you could argue that Arsenal also lacked that quality in attack and didn't take their chances. I think Arsenal be the happier of the two sides going away from home, how the second half sort of was mostly Liverpool, and the fact that Arsenal used to have quite a poor record against the big teams away from home, and it's massively improved this season. I think Arsenal will be happier. A few Liverpool fans frustrated that they should have maybe got a penalty, and to be honest, if that was against Man United, I'd be annoyed in a big game like that saying, well, we should have got a penalty, because it was a handball. Sometimes they're given, sometimes they're not. I think Liverpool fans will be more annoyed. I think Arsenal fans will be happy with the result. But I think 1-1 is a fair reflection of the game. And there was a few players that really impressed me today, and it was all the sort of defensive-minded players, because I think both teams' attack didn't really show up today. Obviously, you've got Mo Salah, that's inevitable. He's always going to score. But when you really look at the game, you think, okay, well, Konate was fantastic. Saliba was fantastic. I mean, those two, France are gifted with some centre-backs. Endo was probably Liverpool's best player, followed by Konate. Declan Rice was, should we just say he was Declan Rice? How many times when I talk about Arsenal, I talk about how Declan Rice is top three players? Every single time I watch Arsenal, Declan Rice and Saliba are top three players. Declan Rice is just Declan Rice. Declan Rice is a £100 million player. You don't talk about his price tag. That's how good he is. Declan Rice, Gabriel, William Saliba, Konate and Endo all had brilliant games today. They were the standout players. And I think, all in all, the winner of this game is Man City. You could even argue Aston Villa. Aston Villa are probably up in a tight race because the draw at the end of the day, both teams drop points. Arsenal, top of the league, going into Christmas, they'll probably be a bit happier of the two clubs, especially because it's away from home. But I have to say this. Both teams proved they could win the league. Both teams proved today they could win the league. But it also said, this is why Man City win the league, don't they? You can also look at it and go, well, this is why Man City are going to win the league. I think Arsenal's problem is they don't have the bottle. Liverpool's problem is I don't think they've got the players. And the reason I'll say that is both teams are capable of winning the league. Both teams can win the league. And I think today they sort of accepted it was going to be a draw the last 10 minutes because the last 10 minutes was boring. Other than that, it was a good game. But I know Arsenal were quite poor in attack today. Martinelli's not really showed up this season. Saka's getting numbers, but Saka's having a bit of a Rashford season where he's good some games, not as good other games. He's getting the numbers, but Saka's a phenomenal player. Saka's an absolutely brilliant player. Do not take this away from Saka, but I think he's been okay in moments this season, but I think he just looks exhausted. I think, to be honest, Saka's exhausted. Martinelli was unbelievable last season, not been as good this season. Jesus is a great player, but he doesn't get crazy numbers. And I think with Liverpool, it's Salah. Gakpo, Nunes, Diaz aren't quite doing it. I mean, like, there's a good player in Darwin Nunes. Luis Diaz before his injury was phenomenal. And then, of course, they've got Jota that's out injured. But I think both teams lacked a little bit in attack. But I think Liverpool, I think when Salah's not scoring, a lot of their goals do come from other players. But I feel like Salah is that guy that always scores. And Salah's the guy that gets the most stick from Liverpool fans. Salah's the guy that Liverpool fans are normally sort of discrediting, always watched his finish. I don't get that. Not all Liverpool fans. Salah's like, it's like Man United fans that hate on Bruno Fernandes, who has been poor recently, but you know that Bruno Fernandes on his day is your best player. And sort of Liverpool fans, I see a lot hating on Salah, they're frustrated with Salah. And sometimes he doesn't do enough, but then he just comes in with that goal. And I think Saka's been doing that. And I think Liverpool, they definitely need maybe some younger attackers coming in. I think Arsenal definitely need a striker. I think Arsenal will sort of see why they needed Tomiyasu today instead of Zinchenko. I think Zinchenko is great in those games, but Arsenal have a lot of possession and dominate. But I think Zinchenko is sort of poor in the games, the big games, the Liverpools, the Manchester Cities, where he's defensively vulnerable. I think this is why Arteta brought in Jurriën Timber. And I think Tomiyasu's injury is a big blow for Arsenal. But I do want to talk about Declan Rice. I do want to talk about William Saliba. I do want to talk about Endo because I've just been waffling for 4 minutes. Now, I thought Declan Rice and Saliba were probably the two best players on the pitch today. And I think Declan Rice, Saliba, Gabriel core for Arsenal is just phenomenal. Arsenal are very lucky they've got this brilliant core. I think Declan Rice sort of controlled the game. He proved he was a £100 million player. The flow went through Declan Rice. He was the guy that controlled the game, controlled the flow. Every time Liverpool got the attack, and Liverpool want to hit them on the transition and overload. Declan Rice is there, intercepting, getting in the way, interception monster. And Declan Rice didn't let Liverpool play to their strengths. Liverpool, I saw how they wanted to line up with Gakpo centre forward. I thought, this could work for Liverpool. But Declan Rice didn't let Liverpool play to their strengths because he was incredible. I thought Endo was Liverpool's best player. I thought he put in an unbelievable performance as well. I thought Endo's an incredibly underrated player. And I actually want to show you something on Endo in just a second, an interesting statistic on Endo. But Declan Rice is just yet again proving he is that £100 million guy. This is Anfield. This could be Arsenal's biggest game of the season because it's them and Liverpool who see most in the title race right now. And they go to Anfield. And you know what? They've dropped a lot of points away from home in big games in the past. But this season, Declan Rice is there. And he just thought, you know what, I'm going to stop any threat from Liverpool. He stopped all Liverpool's threat. And I think technically he's a good player, Declan Rice. But I think his ability to step up and control the game is something that Arsenal definitely lacked last season. A guy that can see out the games. They've got obviously William Saliba, who's unbelievable. His ability to defend the channel is absolutely crazy. You've got Saliba and Gabriel that are all. But as I said, Arsenal are so controlled because of the back three access. Declan Rice, William Saliba and Gabriel, and that is what makes it so hard to score against Arsenal. Arsenal's so hard to break down. And as a rival fan, I'll sit there and say, you know what, I am really jealous that Arsenal have a player like William Saliba. I'm really jealous. He is the Rolls-Royce centre-back. He's the modern centre-back. He's got the athleticism. He's quick. You can't beat him one-on-one because he's quick and physical, but he's got the technical ability. William Saliba is good on the ball. He's good at playing the ball out from the back. He's quick. He's got the technical ability. He's got the athleticism. He's good on the ball. He's good off the ball. He wins his duels. He's got everything you want. A player that can be comfortable and build up, play out from the back, a player that one-on-one can defend the wide channels, can cover large ground, can allow his team to get really far up the pitch because he's comfortable on a high line. He beats everyone in an athletic battle, and then he's complemented well by Gabriel, who wins all those physical battles, those stuff in the air, which William Saliba is quite good at. And it does make me jealous as a rival fan because I feel like William Saliba is becoming that next Van Dijk. Van Dijk, in his prime season was the benchmark for centre-backs. I think Van Dijk is having a very good season, but you see William Saliba, he's sort of the centre-back that you want your centre-backs to be like now. When I'm looking at who Man United need to sign, I'm like, we need a William Saliba-esque player as well. And you look at France, you think Konate was fantastic there. He was almost as good as Saliba today. And you think, well, France are going to have Saliba and Konate, excellent channel defenders, young players who are quick, can't get by them, and they're looking top. And Liverpool struck gold with Konate because I wasn't sure when they first signed him. I thought he was a good player, but he had a bit of an injury record, and I wasn't quite sure. He's been absolutely fantastic. But Declan Rice, Saliba and Gabriel, that's what stood out for Arsenal. What their weak point was obviously Zinchenko, and you can see why they've signed Jurriën Timber. But I'm going to show you a statistic on Arsenal, and then I'm going to talk a little bit more about Liverpool. So let me get this up here. As you can see here, Arsenal last season in those big games lost 3-1 away to Man City, lost 3-0 to Brighton, 1-0 to Everton, and 2-2 at Liverpool. This season, they beat Man City, they beat Everton away, and they beat Brighton at home. Home away, you know what I mean. But they lost to City, Brighton, Everton last season. They beat City, Brighton, Everton last season, and they got a draw against Liverpool. And bear in mind, Liverpool are a lot better this season than they were last season. If I was an Arsenal fan, I'd be very happy with that result because of Arsenal's recent form against the Big Six. I think it's showing massive improvements from Arsenal, and they were very much in the game. And maybe if they took their chances better in the first half, they could have won it. But I think Liverpool and Arsenal had similar games, defended well, just lacked that quality in attack. And just like Declan Rice, I think Endo was Liverpool's best player. Really good job at DM today, and I think he did well. He kept Odegaard quiet, as it was said by Pythagoras and Boots here. He allowed Liverpool to counter-press with real aggression. He was one of the reasons Liverpool was so good in the second half. And I think the subs made Liverpool quite underwhelming. I think Liverpool dropped off after the subs. And I think, Endo is a good player. He's a player to get them through to the end of the season. But once Liverpool get that top DM in, and once they probably get another left winger in because they probably need another attacker that scores goals, it shows that Liverpool 2.0 is going in the right direction. I saw someone explain Liverpool right now as not that Klopp's getting his tactics wrong. Klopp's tactics are great, but Liverpool just haven't got the quality they maybe used to have in the final third with Firmino, Salah and Mane. I think that Jota is great and he's injured. I think Diaz is great but hasn't been as good since his injury. Gakpo's been hit and miss. Nunes has been hit and miss. Salah is great but he is ageing. they don't have that Mane, Salah, Firmino front three like they had at Liverpool 1.0. And once they get their DM, if they can get another big attacker in, Liverpool 2.0 will go far, because you know that Klopp's tactics go far. And I think Arsenal is similar. I think they just need another attacker. I think Timber coming back will be a big boost. Partey coming back will be a big boost. I think you can argue they need a sort of centre mid to sort of go with Declan Rice, maybe a Douglas Luiz, Declan Rice, Odegaard midfield three. They've got Tomiyasu to come back, but both those teams are more than capable of winning the league. Both those teams have that quality. Both teams will be disappointed with their attack today. Szoboszlai didn't really have his best game. Gravenberch wasn't particularly good. But they had very solid defence and basis. Anyway, please do hit that like button. Of course, subscribe down below if you're new. Thank you for watching. Bye.